Hey, Drew, you killed this shit.
Welcome back. Happy New Year. What's up, everybody? This is In the Four Corners of Wrestling. I'd like to welcome everybody to the show. Jose, Rell, Jay, Will, Colin. Happy New Year, y'all.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, brother.
Feliz Año Nuevo.
Hey, that's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. Jose, how you bring the New Year in, man?
Oh, you know I did it big, man. Did the countdown, had a lot of family around me, and if you haven't seen it, we were turning up for the new year in the party, I'm trying to tell you.
I was lit. What's the man, Rell? How you bring the New Year in, man?
I'm good. I brought my New Year sleeping. I actually moved in my new place Christmas Eve, so I fell asleep at 10. I fell asleep before my two daughters, so that's how I brought it in, sleeping.
Congrats on the new place.
Hey, yeah, congrats, man. Nothing wrong with that, man. What about you, Jay Will?
Man, I brought in the New Year's great. Just had a nice little intimate evening. Me and my fiance, me and my lady, sat around, drank wine, ate some good food, man.
That's all right. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. What about you, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, it was just me and my wife. We put my little boy to sleep a little while before, but yeah, it was just me and my wife, just good food and good company.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I was with a couple of fellas, got to say what's up to my daughter. I was there with you in that party, man. Yeah, it was pretty lit. Oh my goodness. But we got a good show. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we got a good show for everybody today. This is a new school show. You know what I'm saying? This is a BP, AP, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Before punk and after punk, you know what I'm saying? That's how we're doing it. So this one right here, with this show right here, we keeping it up to date. We keeping it with the Raws that came on, the AEWs that came on the week, SmackDown that came in the week, and there's a pay-per-view coming up. We're going to touch on that jump too. You know what I mean? So Monday was Raw. Fucking terrible ending. But Monday was Raw. And what do you think about the Raw? I need somebody to take this because that's just thinking about that shit gave me a headache. Like, oh my God. What was your thought on fucking Raw? Man, Jose, what's your thought?
Let me take this one, bro.
What was your thoughts, man? Please talk to the people.
I mean, Raw, man, I don't know, man. Coming from after this pay-per-view, you expect Raw to be something crazy, but I mean, I felt let down. You know what I mean? But they had good little moments here and there sprinkled in, but overall, it was like, y'all could have done better.
Hey, as my producer once say, man, even when they give you shit, sometimes they give you sugar. You know what I'm saying? But fucking ending, man. Colin, what do you think, man?
Oh yeah, that shit was trash. I mean, there's not really a way.
I didn't want to say it. It's not my place, but
yeah, I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn, but that shit was trash. I mean, I think we've had this conversation before, or at least behind the scenes. But this is what happens with the Fiend. You box yourself in, or characters like the Fiend. You box yourself in and have to do more outlandish things in order to kind of get bigger and bigger and bigger. But unfortunately, it's kind of like, where do you go? Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to set myself, somebody's going to get set on fire. All right, cut that shit off. So,
Yeah. For those that don't know, it was, the ending was, I feel like the whole show was ruined by the ending. All right. And I'm going to get Muscle Man's Rell thought. You know what? I just want to get your thought. I don't even want to go into it. It pisses me off. They did it to me again. What do you think, Rell?
Well, as I stated earlier, we all had a little communication. But I first of all, I'll say the whole of Raw was trash. The most interesting part of it was the Ricochet versus Mustafa Ali, which I never thought those names would come out of my mouth as the most interesting part of Raw. So for me to say Mustafa Ali, no offense, he's a great talent, and Ricochet, great talent. But for me to say those two guys had the best, drew the most attention, my attention of Raw, is shocking. I really hope Ricochet joins her business. So let me say that, because I think it would be an awesome addition to it. I also, with the Fiend thing, and I agree with Colin to an extent. I agree with him in terms of, when they box themselves, but I'm gonna go a different way. They box themselves to commit in the most important storyline just being the Fiend, instead of back in the days, how they would have multiple storylines that drew everyone's attention. So it was like Intercontinental meant something, World Championship meant something, Tag Team meant something. So all of our attention was everywhere. But they boxed themselves in with Raw, and even SmackDown to an extent, but with Raw, with it just being the Fiend. So we're all looking for the Fiend. And then when it lets us down, the whole Raw makes it come off as like, oh, this is Debbie Downer. This sucks. You know what I mean? So I kind of already know where they're kind of going with it. But the fact that the ending was awful, and it was too theatrical, too cinematic, because it's like, all right, the Fiend, the lights went out, but then somehow Randy Orton is still holding the fire. He's not scared that the lights went out. It just seems so backwards, because before he was scared when the lights went out, but all of a sudden he's not scared and he's holding the match in his hand, smiling. I thought it was ass backwards. So it was a mess. But I know it'll have a heavy payoff at the end. I just think that for us, and you know why they did it? Because it was the end of the new year. So they want to bring it in with a bang for the next Raw.
I really hope so, because
that's what we have to hope for. But history shows us we're let down most of the time where we get hope, where we're hopeful. So that's all we could do, though, and that's my opinion on Raw.
Okay, yeah, because I was like, okay, we're turning a totally different direction from how it started off, and you had, Drew McIntyre with the whole Sheamus Keith Lee thing. I'm like, okay, where are they going with this? And then, we're over here with Miz, and then we're over here with Dana, and then, the AJ bit was pretty entertaining. I mean, when is the phenomenal one not great? You know what I mean? But after that,
hold on, Marshall, before you say anything, and I don't mean to cut you off, my brother. And I just want people to add to this as they're talking, but I actually I'm not hopeful of Keith Lee. I liked him in NXT. I felt he should have just stayed there. Watching him now with the stupid smirk and all of that, dude's uber talented. But I just can't get behind this character. And I thought I meant to add that in during my dialogue when I was speaking earlier. But I'm not sold on Keith Lee at all. And I don't see him as a future heavyweight champion. And I feel he should go back to NXT, because I think he'll do big things over there.
Oh, so do you think he should go back to development?
Not development, just NXT.
Just back to NXT?
Some people don't need to be called up. And if they're trying to make NXT competitive with AEW, you don't need to call everybody up. Some people made a name for themselves there. Keep them there.
Cole is one of them. This is correct.
Exactly.
That's
this
facts.
is correct. So the show went on, and before I get to Jay Will, the show went on with Nia Jax and Charlotte, and I don't know why. Then you had the New Day, Jeff Hardy, Matt Riddle with the Hurt Business, and the Hurt Business. I deal with those guys, And then they ended up with that bullshit with Randy. You know what I mean? So Jay Will, what are your thoughts?
Overall, Raw was a snore. I mean, if I needed something to make me go to sleep, that was it.
That was the one.
That was it.
You sure you don't want to put a soccer match on?
Bro, it was so bad. Now, like Jose said, there was some good moments.
So what was the sugar moment out of all that bullshit?
Oh, the Ricochet match, hands down. The Ricochet match, hands down, was extremely entertaining. It kind of just brings back how my whole thought process of Lucha Libre wrestling brings such a great element to professional wrestling. High flyers, strong hits, very good bumps. It was entertaining and great storytelling in the match itself. Overall, the whole night was lackluster. It was boring. It was so boring. And it's like, under the circumstances of COVID, I keep watching Raw in particular. A lot of these matches get sold up so much more because no. Now the with Miz and the Money in the Bank, bruh. No, bruh. Oh, don't,
You know what I mean?
bruh. I can't. No, it's not it for me. Nia Jax, okay, cool, I guess. All right.
Why?
All right. Nia Jax has
No,
the
I wasn't asking you why. I
potential.
was just saying why is she there? I
Oh,
guess
oh
that's
yeah, absolutely. Like to me, I'm past her all overall, but like everything about Raw was disappointing. Like we said, the Ricochet match was pretty solid. I enjoyed that. I kind of enjoyed the Jeff Hardy New Day fight a little bit. It had moments of being good, but I mean, good characters can't always make the best matches. So like that was one of the moments where we had good characters, but the match overall was disappointing for me in the end.
Okay. Okay. So what do you guys think about Keith Lee's booking? We'll start with you, bro.
I mean, I told y'all how I feel. I thought he's booked. First of all, he was booked to lose so many times, so he's booked poorly in the beginning, and all of a sudden now he's competing for the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm super confused by the booking, and again, I was never really sold on him at all when he got called up. Like I told you, not everybody needs to be called up. NXT is supposed to make a name for themselves, especially if they're competing against AEW, which they're losing every battle. And you stated earlier, Marshall, with Adam Cole. I think Adam Cole would look at the following he has. He would get lost in. He would get lost if he got called up. First of all, he doesn't have the look. All right. And that's the thing when you get called up. People forget NXT is Triple H's baby. Everything else is Vince's baby. He gets called up, he's gonna get lost because he's not the size that Vince wants him to be. And that's the problem. People think that when you get called up, oh, they're gonna be the same superstar. No. If they're not what Vince wants, they're not gonna get that chance. And
not every sorry, go ahead.
So and that's pretty much where I'm leaving out. I'm not sold on Keith Lee, and I think he should go back.
Okay. Yeah, not everything goes everybody's way. Just ask Finn Balor. Colin, what you think?
I mean, it's kind of tough because Keith definitely has a different look, and he definitely is what they were calling him a 5-tool player when he first came up. So he has athleticism, and he has obviously the power and the speed. So it's a tough situation because you think if you just look at him, you're like, okay, I see it. But there's some things about Keith that I don't like. Like I don't like the way he talks. I don't like his cadence. I think he talks like how he feels a big time wrestler should talk. If you catch what I'm saying. Like The Rock, how The Rock talks. It's a very The Rock says that whatever. Keith talks like, I think what I'm gonna do is go here and I'm gonna beat this guy. Like, just calm down, calm that shit down. just be yourself, be natural. The funny thing is, he had that promo with Drew and Sheamus kind of ate him up. Sheamus was like, fella, I'm gonna come and do this and that. He just talked very natural. So Keith, I don't know. It's really a tough situation. I think they have to find something for him to do or something for him to become. So, or he'll follow like in the line of somebody like Apollo Crews. Like Apollo was just happy to be there, smiling and hey, how's it going, and waving at fans. But for they didn't give him anything to do for who it was Apollo Crews. The same thing with Keith Lee. Who is Keith Lee? What is he about? What do we, you can't just be like, all right, I'm here. Like, what are you going to do? Aside from the rest of Raw, the funny thing is with Raw, I'm actually lowered expectations with Raw. So, hey, okay. Shayna Baszler fought Dana Brooke. All right. AJ Styles fought Elias. Okay. Reasonable match. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to because it's the last Raw of the year. So I'm not going to be like, oh, fuck, there should be 4-star matches somewhere around here. It just is what it is. It's the last Raw of the year. Raw is okay these days at best. Obviously you got Ricochet and Ali killed it, and I mean Keith Lee won is the new #1 contender. So it's very interesting to see where he's at. Again, I think with Keith Lee, it's a little bit too much too soon His character hasn't been developed, and now here's what's going to happen. You can see what's going to end up happening, but we'll see how it all plays out.
Okay, Jay Will, your thoughts? Keith Lee's booking.
I'm not sold on him either as a character. I don't think he also has the look for me. Like we said, NXT was where he really shined, and that's not to say that when you're shining there that you shouldn't be brought up to the bigger stage. I think honestly, if he stayed there a little bit longer, we could get a better glimpse of him. I don't think that he's ready for the main stage at this moment, and I'm not. The booking is not it for me. Like the match that we saw again, saying it was an okay match would be me doing such a service to them. It was again a snore overall for me to watch, and his match was just okay at best. It was not something that I'm going to remember next week. It's not.
Right. Okay, Jose.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna go against what my competitors have said. Look at it. You look at Raw. I mean, they definitely could have done better, but I do agree with what Colin said. It's the last work day of the year. I don't think they're about to go all out and I'll hot tag him in if he wants.
Okay.
I mean, I think that the one thing I'll say is I think there is something like deathly wrong with the transition from NXT to Raw, and I don't know if Keith Lee has been given anything in order to overcome that. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know. When they called up the Revival, something was just different about the Revival. When they called up Aleister Black, something was different about Aleister Black. Ricochet. I'm not trying to get into a whole NXT conversation, but you could tell like it's a pattern. And Keith Lee, you know what I'm saying? I feel like Keith Lee's just going to be the next one to get kind of fall into that whole pattern.
I could see that happening. Okay, so Jay Will, let me get your final thoughts on the Raw.
Okay, so overall, Raw was a snore. There's something just itching in the back of my mind that's really bothering me about the Fiend, and it's a lot of poor handling of the character. I think that the character had such a good way of being presented, some decent matches, but when you come from the last pay-per-view event where we had the match with Randy Orton and he was burned to death, to me, that is the perfect point to end the gimmick and then like come up with something fresh. This could have been something fresh that we could have had. And to me, when you have a character, a match in that way, that's the point where you can legit end the character and revamp the person to be better with a new character, new gimmick. Because to me, the Fiend, like it was a huge misstep from the Firefly Inferno match to now. I'm just not. I'm not good with it at all.
No. Okay. So you don't like the way they're doing your boy. I tell you what, the way that shit ended, I would have had it to where like something came like how Kane used to do back in the day. Just come and snatch Alexa down. Randy can still like the match. The flame goes to the hole, and like a big ass flame comes from underneath the ring. You end it off with that. You don't end it with her pouring some fucking water on her or whatever that shit was that she poured on her. Then with Randy holding that match in front of the camera, like, come on, man. Like, you had me invested for 3 hours for that. And we're moving on to AEW. So AEW had a real good show Wednesday. They did the tribute to Brody Lee. And it was touching. Like, I literally was like about to cry at the end of that thing. Like, they had his son out there. And like me being a father, like we discussed, you know what I'm saying, last time, man, that's like touching. That just hits you. So I want to go around, get everybody's thoughts. And Jay Will, Let's start with you.
So Brody Lee was somebody that I really took a liking to. Probably a little too late. I did not get to really see the major come up. And great guy, put in some really good work. I really, um, I really wish I had given him more time and effort with AEW. I really paid more focus to him during his run with the WWE. I really enjoy um, his Elimination Chamber. What was it, 2017 with Randy Orton? Solid match. Um, I I really wish that we did not have to lose a guy like him. It was like the send off that we got this week for him. It was heartbreaking. It truly was.
Facts.
Brody Lee. It was heartbreaking to see, but it just shows that though sometimes a business may never have all the right plans for these people and the characters, but like their work ethic, the personality, the true character and nature of the person, it
Mm,
shows when they have send offs like this. Like it
that's
was
true.
it was touching. It was really touching.
Yeah, yeah. Rowan showed up. Shout out to Tony Khan.
Yeah.
Hey, and I don't know how he did it because usually Vince don't let shit go, but he had some WWE pictures up in that thing. What did you think about it, Jose?
Man, see, that's the thing. I think we were talking about this a while back. But it goes to show you that you don't necessarily need a push to be a great superstar. But when you do get the right push, when you do get that right push, and you already have that talent, you just haven't been put in that position where you have to perform, you really get to see all the capabilities of a wrestler like Brody Lee. Because most of us know him or would know him as Luke Harper, as the background dancer of the Wyatt family, right? So now that you know him as Luke Harper, what is he outside of that faction? What is he by himself? And when you see his debut into AEW as the Exalted One, and he's now the main face. He is the lead singer. He is the one running the promos, running the game. You really see him come out of his shell in a really new way, and you're like, wow. Um, but that's why I tell you, it's a great thing to see Brody Lee and see Luke Harper get that tribute that they needed because he did such a great job in the ring and outside, and it's amazing.
Yeah, Rowan even showed up at AEW, man. I was like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, damn,
And see that, and
you
that's
came
another thing.
through.
You got your boy who's from the same faction. There wasn't no animosity, and that's the thing. He was that kind of character because you look at where he started. Huber Boy too, amazing. And you see that he kind of gives you that picture behind the scene as to where you can become a real superstar, and it starts from the roots. If you've
Mhm.
started loving wrestling for the pure nature of loving wrestling, then you see how much you can really make an impact. And he was one of those impacts in and outside of the ring.
Right, right. I mean, I didn't too much get the whole concept. Like I guess those was matches that he had was talking to them about that he wanted because they kept on saying like dream matches and this, that, and the third. Um,
Hmm.
so it was like, okay, like y'all did all this for him and Tony Khan, giving his son that championship belt for life and then giving him a contract. Like that's heavy. You know what I mean? That's
Heck yeah, heck yeah.
heavy. Like shout out to Tony Khan for doing that, man, for looking out. And I don't know the guy like that, but
Oh
to
yeah,
look out
Tony
for that
Khan.
man's family.
And see, that's the thing. He says it in one of his interviews with AEW Uncensored. He says that Tony Khan was the person that gave him that push that
Mm-hmm.
Vince couldn't give him.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Colin, what do you
Because
think?
Vince,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to get Colin's thoughts.
I mean, basically, this show was just a testament to Brody Lee and how beloved he was in the wrestling business. And it's crazy because I didn't know he was that, you know what I'm saying, that loved by universally by essentially seems like everybody. The show was, I heard that the show was essentially, the matches were made by Brody's son, -1. So the matches that were set up for the night, the son actually picked out, and I thought that was a really cool thing that
Okay.
AEW did.
Well, there you
But
go.
yeah, I mean, I thought it was very interesting how they had, other members of the Dark Order involved with other people
Mm.
that they normally wouldn't
Mhm.
have in basically essentially every single match. I thought that was pretty fascinating. And there's a time when sorry, it was the match where John Silver. It was John Silver, Hangman Page,
Oh yeah.
Reynolds, and John Silver just went all. He went all, and he hit that Brody clothesline, that little Brody clothesline thing,
That
and that boss
discus.
man slam, and like that. It's just he just all these little homages to the great Mr. Brody Lee, and I just thought it was like it was just crazy. And again, the little kendo shot by MJ, by -1 to MJF. Obviously, Eric Redbeard, aka Eric Rowan, or formerly known as Eric Rowan, showed up. It was just
Mhm.
everything, just the entire night was just so beautiful. And I mean, again, it's rest in peace, Brody Lee, because that was the funny thing is that was a perfect tribute show, as opposed to
Yes.
Raw or SmackDown doing a quick little hey, rest in peace, John
Mhm.
Huber for a millisecond. Like they showed dedication up and down,
Mhm.
tributes up and down, all
Lance Archer coming out as Lou Harper.
yes, yes. He came out and he was doing the Brody signature thing with his hands. A lot of Brody clotheslines. Everything. It was just really beautiful. It was a beautiful thing to
Those
see.
lines galore, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Even your man Xavier Woods. WWE, he was talking about the tributes that WWE gave. You had a lot of people that he definitely reached. Big E. Oh man, like Twitter was filled up. Twitter, they was going in on Twitter. Like Big E was sharing stories, Big E was sharing pictures. Um, Xavier Woods, he was sharing his thing. Our Truth, it was like, damn. Now, I just got a quick question because it did happen during the show. Does MJF go too far with his tweet? And I don't know if y'all seen MJF's tweet, but his tweet was like, fuck that kid.
Fuck that kid.
You know what I'm saying? Now, is that a good time to come out with a heel moment, or should you just let that slide for at least a day?
I
What do you
mean,
think, Colin?
that is tough. I mean, you know what? Maybe not fuck that kid. Don't use that tweet. Just say maybe I hate that kid. You know what I'm saying? But I understand. He probably ran it by -1's mom. They probably got the okay through all of the AEW channels. So and as long as the family was okay with it, then I'm sure they gave him the green light to go ahead with it. But still, especially not everything has to be about wrestling. Like it's okay to kayfabe. It kind of reminded me a little bit about not as much, but it kind of alluded to the whole. Remember Eddie Guerrero and RKO with Randy Orton, and they were talking. It was like I think the feud with Mysterio, and I think he said Mysterio was not sorry. He said Eddie wasn't in. He's sorry about that. He told Mysterio that Eddie wasn't in heaven. Eddie's down in hell or burning in hell. It's kind of like you don't have you can leave some of those things a little bit to the side. You don't have to add that extra bit of oomph into it. So saying fuck that kid, you could have left that one alone.
Yeah. I got the same thing, man. What was your opinion, bro?
He's still drinking his protein.
Rack the weights, man. Rack the weights.
weights. He's putting weights on the bar and clanging and banging.
All right, so we're gonna go to Jose. What you gave me your thought on AEW, Jose?
Man, I feel like your question, which was your question, was that tweet too soon? I feel like it wasn't. I feel like it wasn't. I feel like you got to remember these people have to keep a character. That's something you would expect this character to do. Was it out of line of what he would normally do? No. So overall, I think the show that AEW did was a great show. It definitely was a great show. I enjoyed it all the way through, and I'm glad that -1 was able to put a lot of influence into it too.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, Jones crazy.
So
Crazy.
I'm sorry, Marshall. I caught you. Um, my overall opinion on the AEW, I did get to see some of the highlights of the show. Again, as you guys know, I was moving that day, so I didn't get to watch it. But I did go back and look at some of the highlights the next day, the following day, and I saw some of the tributes to Brody Lee at the time. People doing the signature moves. I forgot the one gentleman that wore his. Two guys actually wore his outfits. One from his WWF days. I keep saying F days. WWE when he was Luke Harper. I did see Eric Rowan come in, and that hurt me a lot because I was like, I wish those two got to be in the ring together at AEW, and that's something that I wanted to see.
No.
I think the other guy you're talking about was Lance Archer.
Yes, thank you. And I guess that missing the Eric Rowan boat with him at AEW, that got me the most. Not counting the Sun being there and hitting the opposition with the candlestick.
Hey, he was going ham backstage.
Yeah, yeah. I thought that was a nice touch. I thought I think AEW's tribute, the overall, they did an awesome job giving the Sun the title. I heard he signed the contract. And so I thought that was it was nice by them, and you can see the impact of what he did and the impact he made while he was at AEW, and so that was quite touching. But what got me was missing the Eric Rowan and him being able to be at AEW at the same time. And if I'm not mistaken, it could have been because of the no compete clause that he had on his contract. Because I believe he left after Brody Lee did. So.
Okay. So, what do y'all want to rate that show? From 1 to 10, scale of 1 to 10. What are we rating AEW?
Let's go Muscle Man first.
Rell, Jose calling you out, baby.
What he calling me out for?
I know he hasn't seen it. I'm messing with him. His is a non-applicable. That's what it is. That's
So as a whole, then how are we going to rate it? AEW, where are we putting it at?
Oh yeah, it was the show of the week. I'll definitely give that.
Definitely the show of the week. Definitely the best show of the week. But what would you rate it at as a whole? Okay.
It was the show of the week for sure. It was the show of the week, and I think because they put more effort into the Brody Lee take is why they became a show of the week. I think Colin had said it earlier with the Raw discussion, but because it was a holiday, you don't need to put in work because nobody's really at home, so we don't need to put in work for a show where we know the viewers might be down because no one's home. So, but AEW had the biggest reason to put on a show, and so I think it automatically would go to AEW for the overall product for this week.
For this week, and where are we rating it? Where are you rating it as a product?
I put it number 1 right now.
No, number 1 product over WWE.
I put it in wrestling perspective. I put it number 1 as at wrestling. I think you give them a few more wrestlers. I think they'll easily. I don't even think that would be a question. But it's arguable because I think SmackDown is the only thing that keeps WWE relevant, in my opinion. Because Raw is a flop. I know I'm a big fan of Drew McIntyre, but I'll be real. Bray Wyatt's the only thing keeping Raw afloat. And I think SmackDown is all Roman Reigns. You put Roman Reigns on both shows, I'd say easily WWE. But I think outside of SmackDown, AEW is taking care of business. So yeah.
Okay. So speaking of SmackDown, let's talk about SmackDown, because that's the show that I really bucks with right there. You know what I'm saying? We got the chief head of table over there. You know what I'm saying? So what do you guys think about this week's SmackDown?
Yo, I'm jumping in first. Go ahead,
Will.
I'm disagreeing with them. The Brody Lee AEW, it was a great show.
Mm-hmm.
However, it was a tribute show. Now, me
Mm-hmm.
personally, I thought SmackDown was the best show of this week. I think that the the
Tell us
Jey
why.
Uso match
Mm-hmm.
was a solid match.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how you could have seen um the Jey Uso losing. He got handcuffed to the ring and then got beat up. That could have been a moment where it could have been an easy heel turn for any other person because it's one of those unforgivable moments where you can be like, "Yo, you beat him already. Why do all this extra?" But then they solidified it now with having Roman still come out. They whooped him on the stage, bashed his head against the screens. They bust him open, then threw him off the stage onto the table. Solid ending to the show for me. I think that SmackDown, hands down, is carrying WWE as a whole, but it was SmackDown to me this week was the best show of the week. Don't care what nobody says.
Okay. Okay. Jose, what do you think about SmackDown?
Okay. So hold on, wait. See, SmackDown was good. Don't get me wrong. I liked SmackDown, but I'm not putting. See, because the point you made was good. I gotta admit, as because it's a tribute show, it does get more, has more of an appeal as opposed to just being a weekly show. But when you look at it, look at how, regardless of whether or not it's a tribute show, the matches that were lined up were good. You actually watched them. You enjoyed watching them. You know, with SmackDown, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really enjoy KO and Uso. I kind of was like, I kind of want to get done watching with the show. That was me personally. That's just my
Mm-hmm.
opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Colin?
Yeah, I didn't like SmackDown. I just thought it was just like it was just one thing after the next was just kind of making me mad. I think what Big E fought Baron Corbin, his match basically ended in no disqualification. Like you just won the Intercontinental title.
He should have brought the chalk back out in his intro.
Right. You have confetti and this and that, and it's all a big hoopla. And then his very first match the next week essentially ends in a no DQ. Thought that was ridiculous. I mean, you got obviously Uso versus KO. I mean, we're gonna get into that a little bit later on, but this Roman Reigns thing is starting to piss me off a little bit.
Why
I think the WWE tag team division is in shambles. So every women's, men's, it's fucking trash. So having Sasha Banks and Belair, go against Bayley and Carmella, it's like, they both just lost to Asuka and Charlotte. So what is the point of this? And it wasn't even like, okay,
the incomplete Riot Squad versus Tamina and Natalia. It's like, come on, man.
Hey, know your role. I'm talking.
My bad.
So it's like everything is just like in shambles. Everything is up in the air. There's not a lot of consistency all over the place. Like I said, you got Montez Ford, the Street Profits, and Rude and Ziggler. Again, another thrown together tag team. It's like there's not the tag team division is terrible. And again, I'm not a big fan of how I like Reigns as the tribal chief. I like that character. I don't like his actions, and I'm gonna get into that a little bit later on.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Also SmackDown.
I'm gonna go ahead and say SmackDown. To me, SmackDown wasn't awful. It just wasn't the better show of the week. I liked the whole Kevin Owens thing, but I think you could only do the get back up again, but so many times. I think it got a little stale. Oh, you can keep me down, but you can't. Like, all right, buddy, we got it. You still lost last time, so it's kind of just like, and we know you're gonna lose again. So you could only do that, but so many times. And I still cringe every time I see Kevin Owens do the stunner. I cringe. I just don't like his pop-up powerbomb suited him. and it was amazing. I love that finisher, but I cringe when I watch him do the stunner. But we
Mm-hmm.
also have to realize it's been some years since it's last been done. It's been over a decade. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I still cringe. I agree with Colin. Tag team division is in shambles. It's like you forget, and this is both Raw and SmackDown. You forget who the women's champion is. I mean, when Sasha Banks won it, it's kind of like, all right, now where are they? Who's fighting for the championship now? Why? When did this tag team division start becoming important for the women's champion and her competitors, or the people that's supposed to be competing for the title are tag teaming together to fight for a tag team, but not the top belt? Makes no sense. So in Belair should be the next in line for that title. But I know they're doing a slow build for her to become champion. But it's like all of a sudden when Sasha Banks wins his titles, it's like they don't give her enough time to show what she can do with it. And before you know it, just like her last couple runs, the title's going to be off of her again. And so that's my problem with SmackDown is they're not doing enough to showcase their champions outside of Roman Reigns. The show, just like Raw, is built around one superstar. And if that superstar flops or no shows, let's say Roman Reigns gets sick, SmackDown's dead again. So I think SmackDown needs to do a better job of building up their other championships, and especially being New Year, showcase your other talents. Showcase them. Do a better job.
Okay, so we're going to go around the ring. There's one question I ask everybody, okay? So we're going Raw, SmackDown, AEW. All right, rank them 1 to 3. Jose, go.
My personal choice in this order, would be AEW for this week. Remember, just for this week.
No. Rank them. Rank the shows. We're not just talking about this week. Rank the shows.
Oh, that's a
Let's
tough
go.
question. I'm not ready for
Come
that.
on. Not ready for that one? All right, we'll come back to you. Muscle Man Rell, rank the show. Go.
My heart's gonna tell me to go AEW, SmackDown, Raw, but because I still have some type of faith in WWE, a part of me also wants to say SmackDown, AEW, Raw. Either way, Raw is at the end. You can flip flop AEW and SmackDown.
No, that's too much. I just need you to rank it 1 through 3.
AEW, SmackDown, Raw. AEW,
Okay, Jay
SmackDown.
Will.
From top to bottom, SmackDown, AEW, Raw.
All right, Colin.
Number 1 is Shockmaster. Oh, I'm sorry. Number 1 is AEW. Number 2 is SmackDown, and number 3 is Raw.
All right, and we're going to end it with Jose.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Kofi Kingston, AEW, SmackDown, and Raw.
Okay, all right. Next time we rank that, we'll throw Impact and we'll throw all the other guys up in there. But I just wanted to get you guys' thoughts on those 3 right there, since that's the 3 that we was covering today. Okay. Now, the next topic, because there was a lot of talk about this guy here. Came a long way, in my opinion. Somebody told him he couldn't do this shit full time. Talking about Roman Reigns. All right. What are y'all's thoughts on Roman Reigns' heel run right now? I'll start with you, Colin.
I mean, it's kind of tough, right? It's a tough situation. I think when it first started, and I'm not one of those but fair weather fans where it's like, oh, I like something at the very beginning and then I just stop liking it. No, it has to make sense to me, right? So when he became, the head of the table, right? The head of the table, the tribal chief, I was like, okay, something fresh, something interesting. That's, I think, the biggest fault or flaw with Roman Reigns. He wasn't interesting. Like, he was just, okay, we're part of the Shield. Okay, I'm, fighting for a title. But what was this dude about? Like, what's the story? That's how you reel me in. What's the story? What makes him tick? Never got, with Austin, you got that. With Rocky, you got that. With Hulk, you got that. But with Reigns, you never got what was his drive? What was his motivation? So when he came back to say, okay, you know what? I'm with Heyman, and I'm the tribal chief. I'm the leader. I run this place. Okay, but now why? why did you join up with Heyman? Like they never said anything about that. And then now to drive it further, I'm having a hard time suspending suspending my belief that Roman Reigns, who essentially was in 4 out of 5 WrestleManias, who beat everyone's ass, beat everybody, now he needs Jey Uso in order to beat Kevin Owens?
Of all people.
Of all people. Like I'm sorry. This isn't like Jinder Mahal and the Bollywood Boys. This is
Right.
Roman Reigns, who beat Triple H, who beat Lesnar, who beat and retired The Undertaker, more or less. Like, it's kind of like he beat all these dudes, and it's like, whoa. KO won't stop. He can't stop. He won't stop. He's not going to keep. He keeps coming back. I don't know what to do. Come here, cousin. I need your help. Come on, y'all. Y'all got to be serious. So they never explained that, and now Roman is running for his life, and it doesn't make any sense. So, that's my take.
Okay. Jay Will, what you got?
Solid point there. Okay, so like I agree with where the pairing with Paul Heyman come in. I think being with Paul Heyman is always is giving him a good look. Is helping push him to the next level. I like the heel run, but it's still, there's no explanation as to why. I think that we've kind of accepted the heel run as it is because of our progression with him over time. It's also a good play on how the emotional impact of like things that we witnessed from him as a fan. We can see that build up, and we're still like sold into him as a character. But is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is something that I got to question, because like I know for a fact that like if I favor a character for who they were from the beginning, am I really going to buy into every phase of the character? Because the question is, do I really believe this is well written as a character? And my problem with that is no. I don't believe I don't buy into him being such of a heel, but I enjoy it. It's mixed emotions about it, honestly. Can't even lie to you.
Okay. Mr. Rell, what you think?
So I'm gonna go ahead. I agree with a little bit of everybody on this one, Colin. Today, for some reason, we are agreeing way too much today.
That's because you're a
But I agree. Now the only veer off is that I enjoy it. The heel, I think it's a breath of fresh air for him. But everything was spot on. What made your mind tick? What made you go heel? What made you go with Paul Heyman? And none of that was explained. We knew why Stone Cold went with, let's say, Vince McMahon that time. We knew why The Rock went with the corporation that one time. We knew why Mankind went with the corporation. So we knew why all these big time guys turned heel at one point in their career, Triple H, etc. So what made you turn heel? And I think the best and easiest was the fans. And you just say, hey, look, you guys hated me then, so I can care F's about you all now. And this is what I'm doing to feed my family. Then you go into the head of the table, because now it's about me and my family. So I'm going to do whatever it takes. But at the same time, this is the guy that beat Brock Lesnar. This is the guy that beat all the big time stars. Undertaker's second loss, and all of a sudden he needs Jey Uso in every single every single match. Like, come on, that doesn't make any sense. I know you're trying to draw heat, but it's also making him look weaker than he should. You know what I mean? So I'm not a big fan of that. He can be a dominant heel. It's okay to have a dominant heel. Brock Lesnar was a dominant heel. Roman Reigns can be a dominant heel. Less talk, all domination. And he could be that next guy. So that's the only thing I'm not a fan of. But other than that, I enjoy the heel run. But they definitely need to do a better job explaining it and stop making him look like a PUSSY. Like, make him a little more tougher. He dominate these fools. You know what I mean? So, and that's how I feel about it.
Okay. Jose, let me get your thoughts.
See,
What do you
this
think
is
about
why
Roman?
this is why I have mixed feelings about Roman because the fact of the matter is, projected wise, he is doing exactly what he needs to do. And I can understand why you would be like, oh, well, how come he's not being more aggressive or how come he's not being more this or that? And I could get that because that's what everyone expects when it comes to storylines that the WWE has given us before. But look at how intense he gets and how also how calmly he does it. You get what I'm saying? And he's just one of those people that he can say what he has to say and still do it without having to blow up. I mean, dude, he's look what he said to Owens, bro. He said he's gonna take the food off of he's taking the food off of the table, bro. He said, I'm the breadwinner now, bro. Like,
Mhm.
you gotta understand, we're in the culture that we live in, there's only so far you can go. The Attitude Era was different. Yeah, they broke a lot of lines and they got a lot of trouble for it too. But now Vince has to be smart about making sure that celebrity can have longevity and at the same time create new people. Look at how great they took time building the storyline with the Uso, the connection. Because before it wasn't as what's it called, focused on,
Mhm.
but now they found a way to tie it in together. And think about it, they have KO. Okay, KO has not had the relevancy that he needed to have when he came into WWE. So now seeing that they're trying to create KO as the guy who will never go down, and you have Roman, the guy who will never stop taking him down, and then you have Jay. It's like you have Roman going way out of his normal pocket, which in my eyes, I find is not bad. I like where he's going with it. Projected why he's doing all right.
Okay, okay. We got any thoughts? Anyone?
I mean, I'll tag in. Jose. So basically, here we go. So basically, my problem with the WWE is that they always back themselves into a corner. Sorry. So Reigns was dominant by himself. That's it. Without the Shield, he was still dominant. He was beating everybody. So this idea of, okay, you joined with Paul Heyman. This whole thing happened with COVID. He took some time off. Cool. You join up with Paul Heyman, and then what happens? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, and then, so this thing, okay, you want to be head of the table. Okay, Jey Uso kind of, he won a number one contenders match. There's a little story right there. Boom, totally cool. But then now this whole thing of, as you move on, as you move past, you need help beating somebody like Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens I'm sorry, just because he tries to become the modern day Stone Cold Steve Austin doesn't mean he should be. Me personally, prize fighter Kevin Owens, when he first came up from NXT, that dude was scrapping, that dude was tough, that dude was beating guys like Cena. That was the perfect KO, just dirty and violent. This KO where he's a good guy and he's trying to make up for all the things that he did in the past, and I'm never going to stop. That's not him. So the thing with the last thing with Reigns is his future is bright, because him being the head of the table and making a statement, I feel like that's going to run right into maybe a future match with The Rock. That's something special. But in the meantime, it's like something's missing, and this whole thing of him acting like a bitch and running and that shit don't make sense for somebody like Roman Reigns. It's ridiculous.
I think that it's going to lead to a faction, or I think it needs to lead to a faction. I'm just to say what I think it needs. It needs to lead to a faction. He needs a faction. He needs to be the head, and he needs the both Uso brothers. And if you want to bring Naomi in, because you don't want to get lost, you bring Naomi in. She could be that girl who dominates, right? Because she's married to one of the Uso brothers, the one who's injured. Not Jay, the other one, but she's married to him. Bring all of them in together.
Remember
And
Jimmy?
at the end, you can have the payout. See, Roman Reigns needs to be here for a while. This can't be a 1-year thing and you drop Paul. No, this needs to be a long-term feud, because you ain't getting The Rock this year. You need The Rock when you have fans. You don't want to use that match for no fans. So you save it. Let it be a slow build. Slowly bring in that faction. and then let it run its course. You know what I mean? So again, like he said, he beat John Cena. We had a earlier discussion in one of our past episodes about John Cena's legacy. The man beat John Cena, right? Who we ranked quite high in terms of legacy, regardless if you have him in the 3, 5, whatever. He's ranked pretty high, right? Ahead of Roman Reigns, where Roman Reigns is now. And he beat him. He beat The Undertaker. He's beaten guys. And now he needs help with Kevin Owens. No disrespect. Kevin Owens is one of the top wrestlers right now. Again, Prize Fighter was the best one. But let's be honest, he's not those guys. And now he needs help. Like, come on.
Mm.
And it's not believable. Not the dominant Roman Reigns, not the one they try to shove down our throats to make a guy.
The one that Vince was telling everybody, you gotta make him look strong. You gotta make him look strong.
Exactly.
Get tired of that shit. I know what the fuck I'm doing. I think that was CM Punk that was saying that shit, right? Like, yeah, Vince, I know what the fuck, how to make somebody look fucking strong. Yeah, this isn't the same one. However, if y'all paid attention to that last match, I mean, that was like fucking ingenious. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the handcuff joint, that could have happened to anybody. But I do see where you guys are coming from. Does anybody have any last thoughts before we move on?
I mean, it's just a really weird situation. I mean, he in a box. Roman Reigns is doing some of the best work. I'd say some of the best work in the totality of the business as a whole. I think he's probably doing, he's what, top 3 in the business right now in terms of overall work. It's just really, really fucking weird. It doesn't make any sense. I don't want to see Roman needing anybody's help. Just dominate. And then you run, but here comes the problem. I think, Rell, you were the one who said, okay, it's a slow build and this and that. I don't know if anybody's on Roman Reigns level right now. And nobody better bring up fucking Drew McIntyre, because that dude's not great at all. He's trash.
Well,
but
even if we bring up Drew, they're 2 different brands, so it's
sure. I know, I agree, but I'm talking about overall what they contribute what they're contributing to the business right now. And it's like, I don't know, that could be like, oh shit, you know what? This person's going to win the Royal Rumble, and they're going to go against Roman at WrestleMania. That there's nothing there, and I think that's to the detriment of the WWE. They've spent so much time building up Roman, just like how they spent so much time building Cena as the guy. They spent Roman as the guy. It's like a lot of other people have kind of fallen through the cracks. Roman's, winning Royal Rumbles. Roman's the only man left in a Survivor Series match. And Roman's overcoming all the odds and this and that. So you build him up, you make him so strong to the detriment of other people, and now you're kind of caught in a caught in a trap. So I don't know. It's gonna be good. Roman's gonna be interesting in a box, and he'll be interesting for that eventual feud with Rocky. But man, it's kind of tough. They put themselves in a bad spot, I think.
All right. Well, speaking of somebody who they bring up and build up and invest in, Big E. All right, Big E just got his was that the Intercontinental Championship he just won? Just went on his solo career, and Paul Heyman, told me he could do big things. Said this was going to be like the first step, and New Day was going to be just like a footnote in his great career. Which shit, he's right. Big E's a big motherfucker. He's been out there for a while now. So now he's at this stage in his career. What do you think about his potential? Muscle Man Rell, what do you think?
So I'm gonna tell you guys a little something. When Biggie came out with Dolph Ziggler a couple of years back, I told him
that's what AJ Lee.
Yep, I told my brother this guy's gonna be like Diesel, right? Now let's say it took a long ass time for this to happen, but I said he's gonna be like the new Diesel. Dolph Ziggler is like, reminds me of Shawn Michaels, right? He's gonna win the world title, which he did, but got hurt. And I said this guy Biggie is gonna be the next, he's gonna be the next thing. He's the bodyguard. He has everything going. He has the size. He's going to be the next in line for the championship. I didn't see this New Day thing happening, which clearly derailed his singles push because they were generating so much money off New Day, and it was just working, right? So I think that held him back. but at the same time, it benefited them because no one knew where they were going for a certain period of time. Kofi Kingston lost his steam, Big E lost his steam, Xavier Woods had came and they didn't know what the hell they wanted to do with him. So they put New Day together, and I think it held back Big E. So I think it's good to see Big E, but at this point, I don't really have an opinion on it. I want to see what he can do with it before I say anything, because it's now getting started. And again, the lack of talent. And I think Colin had made reference to it. I think actually multiple of us made reference to it. Is the talent isn't there. So it's who there is gonna put Big E on the map, right? Like who in SmackDown, who if they pull someone from Raw, who really can give him that rub to make him a top star? And I don't see anybody unless their name is Drew McIntyre. Hate him or love him, he's one of the only few guys next to Roman Reigns that can give you that, unless you bring up an old school guy. And this is why they always rely on old school guys, because they can give the biggest rub instead of these current guys that are wrestling. So who can do that for Big E? And I don't see anybody. So that makes it even harder for Big E, and he has to now prove himself even more than guys of the past or even now had to. You know what I mean? Roman Reigns had somebody to help build him up. John Cena had Kurt Angle when he started. So who's able to do that? And you might have to bring in someone like John Cena or use Randy Orton. Honestly, the only person is Randy Orton right now that can put Big E on the map. So, and Randy Orton is known for being that type of guy. Like, you know what? I'll help build him up. Big Show, everyone's over him. So it's kind of like, who can give Big E that big rub to then say, you know what? He's now here. He's made his mark. When he won that title, there was something missing, right? Because he didn't win it from a big name. I love Sami Zayn, super talented. He's not a big name. So who now can give him that?
Anybody want to follow up with that?
I agree with the question of who's going to help push him to that next level, because Big E has the skills in the ring. He has the physicality. He has the look to be a top talent, championship, higher level championship matches that he needs that huge push. And unfortunately, within that talent pool, you don't have big enough names to really give him that major push. And unfortunately, it seems like COVID is going to be the reason why we may not be able to get that sort of major push from him. Like to get somebody like a legend to come in and do a match with him to take him to that next level. But like Big E, I see so much potential in him. It just needs that one push, that one missing piece to the puzzle, and he's 100% there.
Okay. Jose, what do you think about Big E?
Yeah, I feel like Big E needs a push, man. He needs the right competitor to go against him, man. It's just finding the right person to put against Big E is a little hard, and I can see why it's tough making good matches against him. He has great following with fans who like him. You see that he's done decent work with the New Day. So it's just, where can you go with that?
Okay, Colin.
Tough situation because Rell said it before, and it was actually a really good idea. The idea of Dolph being Shawn and Big E being, quote unquote, the new Diesel, being his heater, being Ziggler's heater, the new Diesel. That was a great idea. It's a crazy situation because I understand the New Day made Big E's personality come out, and just the dancing, and he is very entertaining. But even as I was watching SmackDown the other day, and Corbin's walking down the aisle into the ring, and Big E's waiting for him, and he's basically doing splits and gyrating on the ropes. And
that's why I don't like that shit.
Dude, I don't like that shit. I don't like the thing is, I don't like it for him.
Yeah.
You are
children are watching, man. Stop that shit.
Well, it's. I mean, everybody's got their own thing, but my thing is like, you're supposed to be, quote unquote, the next man up. And I'm big into like going with what brought you to the dance, but at the same time, you have to take that shit to the next level. That was kind of what my problem was with Kofi. With his little pigtails and his little thing. It's like, okay, you got to be a champion. You come from, Hulk, Austin, Rock, Brett, Shawn, Undertaker, Batista, Cena. But then you have this dude in pigtails, and it's like, come on. Same thing with Big E. You're gyrating. Like just, I don't know, something about him is missing. He needs to take this shit a little bit more serious, because it's true. Are you gonna be in the main event of WrestleMania gyrating against somebody like Roman Reigns? Reigns is walking down the aisle, serious as shit, taking this shit seriously, and you waiting for him and gyrating in the corner? Like,
right.
Like you
full
gotta
splits? No.
Doing splits, and like you got it. Like, something's got to change. So I mean, right now, the funny thing is, if you asked me this question about 3 weeks ago, I would be like, Big E's got lots of potential. He's a future world champion.
Mhm.
Something is, I'm watching it, and it just, something seems off. Like, yeah, they may give him a title, but they gave Great Khali a title too. I don't know if he's going to be like 10 years from now, Big E's going to be one of the biggest things in the history of the business. I'll be surprised if Big E's still around after the next 4 or 5 years.
What?
The way things are going right now.
What?
That's how I feel right now, man.
Damn. All right. And that's where we are. Damn, Big E. So I'm sorry, Colin. You just pipe bomb, man. That's why we call you that, baby. Tell it like it is. So this has been our show for the day. I'd like to thank y'all for tuning in. This has been the 613 Faye production podcast. And man, go ahead and check it out, man. Check the joint out. We got the Tone and Cash Gaming Pad podcast. I'm just excited about it, man, because everything's just launching off. 2021, new year. How did y'all fellas have a good time today?
Yes, sir.
Always do. Always do.
Jose?
Heck yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, I had a good time today. Hey, what's y'all New Year's goal for this year? Colin, what's your New Year goal for 2021?
You know something, Marshall? They say there's an old saying, right? There's an old New Year saying. And it is New Year, New Me.
Mhm.
But that shit doesn't apply to me, because I'm fucking perfect. I'm always right. But with that said, I think the other 3 dudes on this podcast, the way they always embarrass themselves, they should, take that to heart and really embrace it. So, I challenge Rell, I challenge Jay Will, and I challenge Quavo to do fucking better.
hey, Colin on this Jim Cornette shit.
Whoa.
He's not giving a fuck. Jose, what's your,
I'm ready. I'm my New Year's resolution is to defuse the pipe bomb, because it's not that hard. It just takes the right words, I guess. Not that much work. But yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Must have been Rell. What's your goals for 2021, baby?
I'm not even going to try to come back with Colin. I'll just take the L on that one for the day. So my goal is, just continue to be great, continue to get swole, and building on top of a dynasty that I'm continuing to build and make.
I can dig that. Jay Will, what about you, baby?
Yo, so this year, my New Year's resolution, not really a resolution, I don't really believe in that. I just know I got goals I want to complete. Finishing my bachelor's degree, being a Black teacher in America, you know what I'm saying? I'm also getting married soon, so I will be married pretty soon.
Congrats.
Appreciate that, y'all. Other than that, just keep staying alive, keep pumping out content like this. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it is. Hey, same for me. I plan on continue to clang and bang in the gym, get my swole on, and continue to let my blessings rain in, and to continue to be a good person. Be a good grandpappy. I'm about to be a grandpappy this year. So y'all go ahead and top 10 sexiest grandpappies of all time. That's how we doing it, baby. And once again, this is In the Four Corners of Wrestling, a 613 Faye production. You catch this on YouTube, Facebook, 613 Faye Productions, Instagram, 613 Faye DMV. I am your host, Marshall, Mr. Soul Simmons. You can catch me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And we got 2 shows a week, Sundays and Thursdays. And remember, guys, don't try this shit at home. Leave it to the professionals, and we're out.
CM Punk is overrated.